Hi. Hi. I'm going to wait to see who's around before I decide if I'm going to use these earphones or not. You're going to let me know if you could hear me and see me. Let's see. Hi, Melissa. Thanks for popping on. I got to invite people. I know a lot of people wanted to be invited, and unfortunately, Facebook is censoring big time. So if you haven't already, make sure you click that notification button up above, because if you don't, you're not going to get notified when I hop on. And Facebook really likes to keep me censored these days. So if you could hear me and see me, let me know. Let me know if I need to use these earphones or not. If it's nice, loud, and clear, give me a thumbs up, give me hearts, give me a word that says, yes, I could hear you, thumbs up, something. Let me know if you could hear me. Mic check good, and we could see you great. Awesome. Thank you, Amber. Thank you very much. So share this with anyone who you think would get value from the information I am about to share. I am here to help you all figure out some basics that will help you and guide you to start recovery for your child, whether they're diagnosed with autism, ADHD, ADD, it's all the same, Asperger's, all the same stuff, okay? All of these children and these diagnoses blend in together. So I'm just gonna put out some notifications, so please bear with me for a few seconds. And like I said, please feel free to share with anyone whom you think might need or might like this information I'm going to share. Far too long it's been going on for far too long with basic pediatricians not knowing what to do to help our children, whether they consciously or unconsciously know how to help them is irrelevant at this point, because all I care about is getting the right information out there, at least the basics. Some of you may know this stuff already, some of you may not, but I'm going to share what has worked for my daughter, and I'm going to share what I feel is the basics that every child with these diagnoses should be doing in order to help them start their recovery road. Because let's face it, we are all individualized. We are all, epigenetics plays a huge part into how they become injured and also how they recover. Okay, so that's straight out. And let me do a little disclaimer. No, I am not a doctor, but I am a mother who's been living this life for 17 years, and I've been recovering my daughter for 9 years. And I am also just about to be certified as a health and life coach. So I have a lot of experience, as well as my own research in helping thousands of families at this point for the past 9 years, helping them with the resources they need on their way to help get their children to live the best life that they possibly can. So the biggest question I always get and always seem to get is, how or what did I do to help my daughter get into a better place? What did I do to recover her? So I'm just going to I have notes. I'm very formal tonight. I have some notes I'm going to run down. And again, I want you to understand, this is what worked for my daughter. All of these children, like I said, epigenetics plays a huge part. It also depends on how much that child has, how much insults have that child had through the environment, whether it's injection, whether it's food with the pesticides and glyphosate, with the GMOs, from mom, because ladies, let's face it, the biggest way to detox is have a child. Anything and everything that we are carrying in our body goes to baby. Whether you realize that or not, it is fact. I did not know this either. Do not feel bad. This is not to make anybody feel bad. This is just a reality check. This is what happens. So prior exposures, epigenetics, all of that plays a part as to where your child is going to be when they get these insults, okay? So all these kids have these 4 things in common. 4 things in common. They all have brain, gut, immune, and metabolic injuries. all 4 of those areas have been affected to some level, to some degree, in some way by the environment. Whether you want to believe it's from the air, the water, the vaccines, the food, whatever your case may be, something had triggered their body to where the imbalances are in the brain, gut, immune, and metabolic systems. All 4 areas. Now, the trick of this is determining where, not so much where, but how much, what level, to what degree in these 4 specific areas has the compromise happened. And that is the biggest, I think, aha that's going to be, or one of the biggest golden nuggets that you all need to understand and realize that these typical pediatricians don't have a clue, is that these children all have medical underlying conditions that can be treated in order to help them trigger their body's ability to heal, to get back into a better place. So 4 different areas, okay? Biomedical measures. What did I do to help my daughter? Well, she suffered really quick for 9 years, just about 9 years she suffered, because when everything happened with my daughter, these typical Western medicine doctors brushed it off, didn't listen to my concerns, and also said that there was nothing that can be done, that it was a brain disorder or dysfunction. And everything that I was doing, which is the outside therapies, which I'll get to, that I was doing everything that I could. I did not know that there was more, that there was medical issues, that there was other things that I absolutely could have done to help her get in a better place. So because I had misinformation, because it was back in 2001, 2002, 2003, before I had a computer, before we had the technology we have today, before we have all these resources that we have today, my daughter did suffer. She had a lot of gastrointestinal issues. She has a lot of allergies. She had a lot of different things, that she had stomach pains. She would always say boo-boo head, boo-boo tummy, boo-boo throat. Those are the things that she would always say to me, if anything at all. So I knew something was off. She was also not growing. She was not gaining weight. There were just multiple red flags. This was my second child. My first child developed normal, typical, fine, some allergies, but neurologically, she has no diagnosis. She is fine. So when I saw my second child developing differently, I knew something was going on. So let's stay focused on what did I do. When I learned what I did, it was 2011. My daughter was just about turning 10 years old. And the first thing I learned was biomedical measures. Diet, number 1, write it down, post it below. If you are doing diet, or if you haven't tried diet, diet is number 1. I don't care what anybody tells you, diet matters. Meaning organic food, the least toxic food you can find. Organic food and non-GMO food matters. It matters 1000%. That is going to be a huge, huge factor in helping the gut heal, the inflammation come down in the gut. Been there, done that. My daughter lived on McDonald's, chicken nuggets, Happy Meals, pizza, Eggo waffles, Cocoa Puffs, Fruit Loops, you name it. That's what I gave her because I didn't know any better. Well, this day and age of information, guys, you got to do the research. Food matters. Food is what's going to help kickstart their bodies to get to the place they need to go. They are so full of inflammation and oxidative stress because of the insults from the environment. No matter how you believe it happened, or even if you realize that it happened, it happened. And the first things first, stop giving them soda, stop going to McDonald's, stop with the processed foods, stop with the food dyes. You have to go with organic and non-GMO food. That is the first change that I did. The second thing that I did was go on the gluten, casein, and soy-free diet. Casein is dairy, so no more gluten, which is wheat, no more dairy, and no more soy. I got rid of all three of those high inflammatory proteins because they are high inflammatory proteins. They trigger the gut to create more inflammation, which is the main thing we need to heal, is the gut, because all health begins in the gut. 80% of the immune system is located in your gut, and the brain and gut is connected. If this is making sense to you, please put the word immune system down there. Do immune, write gut. Let me know, because this is another big golden nugget you need to write down. Healing the gut is key for these children to get into a better place. So diet, organic, non-GMO, getting rid of dairy, wheat, and soy. The gluten, casein, soy-free diet was the first major thing I did for my daughter. And in the first few days, it was really, really hard. She was 10 years old when we changed this, so trust me, I understand how difficult this is, okay? I'm not going to tell you and sit here and tell you that it's going to be easy, because it's not. But is it worth it? Hell yeah, it's going to be worth it. You want to help your child get into a better place, you're going to follow these steps. And I promise you, you are going to see a difference. So diet is key. Number one, organic, gluten, casein, wheat, I'm going to say it easy. Wheat, dairy, and soy-free diet, absolutely. The second thing we did was check for food allergies to see if there was any other food allergies she was having. Remember I said, boo-boo head, boo-boo tummy, boo-boo throat. That's what she would always say, and the pediatrician would blow it off. They would not listen. So, turns out that she had 9 other food allergies. What do you know? The kid wasn't lying. She wasn't feeling good for a reason. She was having reactions to these other proteins. So, the second thing we did was have a food allergy test. You could get a RAS test done, which is through the blood, and a RAS test is when they take when they do a blood test for basic allergies of wheat, dairy, soy, eggs, peanuts, this, that, and everything else. It's like a common rundown. Then I did an extended one, because I'll get to the different doctors, but we did an extended, and we learned that not only was she allergic to wheat, she was allergic to oats, she was allergic to beef, she was allergic to chocolate, she was allergic to oranges and tangerines and dairy and soy, go figure, which most of these kids that have the diagnoses of autism, ADHD, and ADD, and Asperger's typically do, especially those with autism. So food allergies is number 2. That's the number 2 thing you want to get done. Once you start changing the food and you remove wheat, dairy, and soy, the second thing you're going to want to do is check for food allergies and remove those allergies, obviously, that your specific child has. Okay, so that's the second thing we did. Huge results from that. I like to tell this story, and I'm going to tell the story really briefly before I move forward. When I learned what I did and I started the diet, the first few days she didn't eat. She was not happy. I went to McDonald's. I got all of the boxing and the casings, and I made my organic chicken nuggets, my organic French fries, and chocolate milk before I knew she was allergic to chocolate, almond milk wise or whatever. And I said, this is your new Happy Meal, girl. This is your new Happy Meal. And she wasn't very happy with me, but after a couple of days, she started eating it because she realized that her tummy was starting to feel better. She realized that what mommy was trying to do was to help her. So within the first 2 weeks, the third thing, let me get to the third thing and then I'm going to finish the story. The third thing I tell everybody to do, probiotics. Get a good probiotic. If you need suggestions, put them below, send me a message. I will help you out. Guys, write down probiotics. Number 3 is probiotics. So number 1, diet. Number 2, check for food allergies. Number 3, probiotics, omegas, and enzymes. Those 3 things are so essential. Probiotics helps with the gut flora to help heal the gut and leaky gut. We'll get into that in a second. It's going to help rebalance the gut. which, again, immune system's in your gut, and your brain and gut's connected, right? So you got probiotics. Omegas are so important. I recommend Nordic Naturals. If you're not vegan, Nordic Naturals is great. Fish omega, no mercury in them. They're very well tested. And go with the DHA extra. That's what we used. That's what we saw great things with. You could get with your own doctor, come up with your own, whatever, but this is what we did for my daughter. Like I said, this is about what I did for my daughter. So you're going to need a probiotic, omegas, DHA, extra is what we use. Definitely hype up on the DHA because that helps build the brain and helps with those connections again from the insults that have happened already. It helps heal that. And enzymes, digestive enzymes. I recommend, I think it's pronounced like eczema or something, but it's Digest Gold. They are the top of the line, best all around enzymes, and what that's going to do is help digest the food because the gut's so full of inflammation, the gut is not able to digest whatever food they're eating. So in the process of healing the gut, that's what that's going to do is help digest that food, help break it down so that it will become more digestible to go in through the intestines so that it can get into the blood and get the nutrients that is needed, that's depleted from these children because of the injury sustained in the gut. So the rest of the story goes, we started the diet, then I started the probiotics, the fish oil, and the enzymes. And within 2 weeks, she was starting to brush her teeth. She was a little bit independent already. She was brushing her teeth, and then I hear, Mommy! And I'm like, oh God. She comes right. I was sitting in the kitchen. She was in the bathroom. And then I hear her little feet in the floor. And she goes right to my face. She goes, I could talk. I could talk. That's when it hit and I knew I was on the right track. That's when my daughter really started participating more and understanding why Mommy was doing what she was doing. But I knew that her gut was on its way to heal. So, diet number 1, check for food allergies, take it out. Number 2, this is all about taking away the inflammation in the gut. Number 3, probiotics, omegas, and enzymes. Those 3 things right there are going to catapult any child who is autistic, ADD, ADHD, Asperger's. Those just right there, okay? Number 4, what did we do? We then started checking for nutritional deficiencies. A lot of these children have nutritional deficiencies because of the insults. Wherever you want to believe the insults came from, the insults are there. And heavy metals is a big insult that our children burden. And those heavy metals actually deplete the body of essential minerals that they need. We need certain minerals in order for our bodies to function correctly. So instead of doing what I did in the beginning, when I learned what I did, I bought everything under the sun. Every time you heard, oh, well, this protocol works. Oh, this supplement works. That works. This works. Girl, guys, I've been through it all, okay? I've wasted a lot of money on a bunch of different things because I didn't understand all this. So I am totally dropping nuggets to help you surpass that and save money, okay? The way you save money is actually get the blood work done. Duh. I didn't do it at first. It took me a little time to figure that out, but I figured it out. And when I did, it was able to individualize exactly what her body needed. So I didn't have to get a multi and D and this, and all, and try all these different things. I knew that, her minerals, her magnesium, her potassium were really, really low. She needed more of that. Her iron was low. She needed more of that. Her vitamin C, she needed 1,000 milligrams versus what comes in a multivitamin. Like multivitamins don't work for her. She has, for my specific daughter's needs, after doing the testing that I am recommending for all of you to do, we saw where she had lots of, had little of. And what we did is figure out exactly what she needed so I could purchase what her body required, so she's getting the supplements that she needs without me spending money on all these different crazy things that could be extra and that her body don't need. So to avoid all of that, number 4 is check for nutritional deficiencies. Simple blood work, guys. Simple blood work. Number 5 thing that we did, MTHFR. Check for MTHFR genetic mutations. 99.9% of them have it. some degree. Again, epigenetics play a part. The more mutation you have, the more your body is vulnerable and susceptible, where the body's ability to detox is compromised. MTHFR, when you have that type of compromise, your methylation cycle is messed up. Your methylation cycle has everything to do with the B vitamins, with B12, with glutathione, with everything that has to do, the serotonin, like everything that has to do with balance of your body and also helping your body's natural detox system. Okay? How we learned that she had that. We learned specifically where in her methylation cycle she needed supplementation, and we started supplementing. The first thing that we did was the methyl B12 injections, and be very, very, very careful. You don't go to a regular pharmacy if you decide to move forward with your doctor to do these. You get it through a compounded pharmacy. Please, somebody write that down. Compounded pharmacy B12. Please type that in there. So important, because when you go through a compounded pharmacy, you're going to get the pure B12 versus going to a regular pharmacy that gives you genetic crap that has tons of aluminum in it. Last thing they need. So there's a very big difference between getting a regular script and getting it from a compounded pharmacy. So make sure that number 5, you check for MTHFR. And if you're going forward with the methyl B12 injections, that you get it from a compounded pharmacy. So important. I can't even stress it enough. For her in the beginning, we started with methyl B12, leucovorin, and NAC as a combination. That is what her MAPS doctor suggested, and that's what we started with to jumpstart her system. What we had learned is that her specific system just needed to basically, his words were, let's see if we could rebalance it. If it rebalances, it should start kicking on its own. And to make a long story short, that's exactly what happened. We jump-started it with the methyl B12 injections, BH4, and some other supplements to help her body start working correctly. And then she no longer needed the injections, and she could actually, and as the gut healed from doing number 1, 2, 3, and 4, she was able to start taking the B12 sublingually through a supplement versus the injections. So no more injections in her hiney, and she was able to actually take the supplement itself, because now it would metabolize. Because a lot of this, like I said, when your gut is not healed and there's a lot of inflammation and oxidative stress going on, their tummies are not metabolizing the nutrition, whether you're giving them supplements or the food. They're not able to metabolize it because of the inflammation in the leaky gut and all of that that's going on in the gut. Okay, all health begins with the gut. So that's number 5. Number 1, diet. Number 2, check for food allergies and remove them where needed. Number 3, probiotics, omegas, and enzymes, digestive enzymes. Number 4, check for nutritional deficiencies, supplement where needed. Number 5, check for MTHFR genetic mutations and work with your specific doctor, which we will get into, don't worry. If you decide to do with B12 injections, make sure they're compounded pharmacy, and do the testing for all of that. Number 6 was oxidative stress. These kids, their neurological systems are on fire, their autonomic nervous system is on fire, their immune systems are all whacked. There's a lot of oxidative stress going on. How we combated that was through a supplement called Protandim. I highly recommend it for everybody and anybody. You have a doctor, you have a practitioner you're working with, talk with them about it if that makes you feel more comfortable. They're actually, the company I think actually did their science behind it on how it actually helps our kids. And it's an herbal mix. I do not use pharmaceuticals whatsoever. The only pharmaceutical I ever used was from a compounded pharmacy of methyl B12 shots. But Protandim is on the list. We used it in the beginning. We stopped using it for a short period of time, and then I started using it again, and this is our one of our go-to supplements is Protandim. It boosts glutathione by 600%. Glutathione is your body's main detoxifier. It's It's essential for our kids, especially when they're having problems detoxing. So it's a great support system to help bring down that oxidative stress and help boost the detox system, their natural detox system. So it's definitely a recommendation that I encourage all of you to check out. Number 7, detox. Detox. Now, I'm gonna be straight up. People are making money on both sides, okay? Whether they're on this side over here saying that, you know, these kids don't have medical issues and it's a brain disorder and let's put them on pharmaceuticals here, take all of these, you know, medicines to help control ADHD and help control their behavior and help control seizures. And then they're making money with every script they write. And then there are people on the other side of recovery that you have to be very careful with, that have a new thing for everything to help heal your kid. This is the newest protocol. This is the newest supplement. This is the new. Do your research, okay? Do your research. For detoxing, after I did my research, I chose to go the route of homeopathy. We actually used a homotoxicologist. She works specifically with kids with autism. She works specifically 100%. That's all that she does. And I decided to go that way because when the first insults happen, the heavy metals are in the blood. If you get tests done and you see that there's heavy metals in the blood, some people have recommended and talk about chelation. If the metals are in the blood, that might be a good way to go because at least they're floating around in the blood. It's easy to grab and it could pull out. That may be a good way to go. Discuss with your doctor. However, for my daughter's case, we did not get all the information that we needed until years later. So it was not showing in her blood. It was not showing in her urine. But the hair test that we did absolutely showed high amounts of aluminum, and mercury was number 2. So we knew the metals were in there, and you know what happens is that after the metals circulate in the body, it takes about 30 days, it starts hiding in the body, in the organs. So when I did my research, I was not comfortable with doing chelation as it pulls out. It could transfer, it could go into other locations. Like, I just was not comfortable. To each their own. You do your research, you make your own decision. For us, for my daughter, because this is about what I did to help my daughter, I utilized homeopathy because it was the least invasive way, and it was very individualized with how this woman worked her homeopathy. And I loved that. So basically, we did that for 4.5 years and saw huge gains. So detox is essential for these children. Now, I want everybody to understand, through diet, through checking the food allergies, by supplementing where you're needed, you are already jump-starting the body's ability to detox. Okay, so you are helping these kids to detox. Now, like I said in the very beginning, every child's different, and some of these kids have been affected so badly that they need help with detoxing. Totally get it. That's another reason why I love homeopathy, because it actually helps that individual's body to lift out the bad guys. And Mary, her name is Mary. Mary works individually with each child, and whatever they're working on, she gives them the remedies to pull it out, and then she gives a remedy to grab it so that it pulls out of the system completely. So it's very, very important you find somebody who knows what they're doing, because if you don't, it could just circulate and circulate. So detox, without getting off track, detox is the next thing. So 1, diet. 2, check for food allergies. 3, probiotics, omegas, and enzymes. It's all about healing the gut, guys. Number 4, check for nutritional deficiencies, supplement where needed. Number 5, check for MTHFR, and if you're interested in looking into B12 injections, very great to help with that. Compounded pharmacy for those. Number 6, oxidative stress. You need to pull that down. Protandim is a supplement I recommend to help with that. Research it, look into it. Number 7 was detox. I chose to do the homeopathy way, homotoxicology. So number 8 would be CBD oil. CBD oil has been a huge game changer for my daughter. A lot of you already know this. When we stopped doing the homotoxicology and detoxing, I didn't realize that her body was going to become imbalanced again and that she was going to need something to rebalance it. So because she was no longer getting the support utilizing the homeopathy, her body, things started roaming around in her body, and her body started becoming imbalanced, and all those manifestations started happening again, the behaviors and the angry and this, that, and everything else. When we found the pure CBD oil that we have, that's when life changed. That's when her body started to re-regulate, rebalance, and all of those crazy manifestations that came back, the behaviors, the anxiousness, the aggression, just all the bad stuff that flipped over disappeared, because CBD oil helps their bodies to rebalance whatever imbalances are going on within the body. Utilizing CBD oil, a pure form, actually helps your natural endocannabinoid system. Just like the nutritional deficiencies, these children's endocannabinoid systems are severely deficient. And the way to supplement them is using CBD oil and using a pure oil. Again, just like everything else, a lot of people want to make money. A lot of people just throw things in a bottle, sell it to you. Very, very important to know your product. If you're interested in what we use, reach out to me. I would love to help you, but please make sure you're getting 100% plant in that bottle, because that's going to make a big difference between helping a child or hurting the child. So that is number 8, was CBD oil. So pop that below, please. CBD oil. And I said all of that, and that's the 8 things. That's the 8 major things that we did. I talked about all of that. Okay, awesome. So who did we use? Who helped us figure all this stuff out? Okay, so chiropractor, Dan Doctor. They used to be called Dan Doctors. Defeat Autism now. We have an awesome chiropractor. We've known him since 2012. He's helped with adjustments. He helped with cranial therapy, which is actually helping the pressure of the fluid in the brain to move it and manipulate it around to help relieve the brain pressure. That was huge for my daughter. Again, the second practitioner we used was a homotoxicologist. Huge. That was for our detox. The third was a MAPS doctor. Now let me talk a little about MAPS doctors. If you heard of MAPS doctors, give me a thumbs up, or write the word MAPS. Write the word MAPS if you've heard of them before. A MAPS doctor is the extension, or I guess a recreation of the Dan doctors. A Dan doctor basically could have been anybody who wants to participate and help a child. The MAPS doctor is more of a formality where it has to be a medical practitioner, and they actually go and they learn things. They learn about the underlying conditions that affect these children, the brain, the gut, the immune system, about detoxing, about all of that stuff that helps our kids get better. So MAPS stands for Medical Academy of Pediatrics for Special Needs. Are you guys writing down all these nuggets? Because I'm giving you lots of nuggets tonight. Somebody pop below, please, if you don't mind. MAPS doctor stands for Medical Academy of Pediatrics for Special Needs. Highly, 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 highly recommend to go see one of these doctors. Yes, there's not a whole bunch of them around, but they do exist. And if you are fortunate enough and able to get to one of them, they are going to be the ones to go to help guide you with everything I just talked about. Everything. That is where we learned all the nitty-gritty of the medical that has been going on with my daughter, what has happened to her, and how we need to go about proceeding going forward. Obviously, I made the ultimate decisions on how I wanted to proceed moving forward. He gave me the information of what was going on with her. We figured out where the imbalances were, and I made the decision on how I wanted to proceed on treating them. So the last person that we see is a holistic nurse practitioner for our regular yearly visits. Every year I go just to do a checkup to make sure everything's good. I run blood work to make sure if we need to adjust her supplements like her vitamins, vitamin C. Now, if she don't need 1,000 milligram, maybe she only needs 500 milligram, yada, yada, yada. So it's very important that you get this, you know, your specific doctor will work with you on, you know, in the very beginning, we were doing tests like every 6 months. But as time went on, as she started to heal and as she started to get better, it was less and less testing that was required or needed, which is awesome. So we use these. These are our go-to people. We don't have this doctor, that doctor, like a whole charade of doctors, because we've been there. I've been to a gastroenterologist. I've been to a hematologist. I've been to immunologist. I've been to all these doctors that completely failed us. They failed us. The pediatrician failed us. Everybody has failed us. Where we found our information was through research and through finding it from these awesome organizations. I'm going to share with y'all some websites that I highly recommend where you can get more information to help guide you and to give you more resources to find that information you need to heal your children, okay? I did a little bit backwards. Okay, the resource I'm going to give last. The last thing I want to say really quick. So these are the people that helped us with, I like to use the analogy, a cake analogy. These are the peoples, and this is what we did to help with the inside, with the medical issues. Think of it like a cake. When you're making the cake, you got to get the inside going before you put the icing on, right? Well, with my daughter and her situation, we kind of were backwards because we didn't know about all these medical things that we could have done in the very, very beginning that could have helped her get in a much, much better place much, much quicker. So not even thinking about it is all good, but this is going to help you surpass what we have gone through. My daughter, the outside therapies, the icing on the cake, what we have done. First and foremost, if you think you have a problem, get an evaluation done. We had an evaluation through early intervention, a pediatric neurologist, and a child developmental doctor. She's had early intervention since the age of 2. That is these are the outside therapies that we have done for her. So early intervention since the very, very beginning. She went to public school and was in a special setting class, which was an 812, meaning 8 children, 1 teacher, 2 assistants, and she had a one-on-one aide. The early intervention that she went to until the age of 5, because 5 she started at public school, was an intense ABA program. Some people have opinions about that, but I firmly believe in the very, very, very beginning, the ABA helps develop the brain and helps with the rehab that these children need to get them back into a better place. So I'm very happy about her being in the intense ABA program because that's what helped her speak again. That's what helped her start eating herself again. That's what helped her potty train. That's what helped her get into a really good place in that aspect. So she had intense ABA and speech therapy when she was very, very young. When she got into the public school setting, she had the special setting, the 812 class. She had speech therapy and OT therapy. Number 1's early intervention. Number 2 is public school system doing the speech class, the OT. Number 3, fast forward program. If you've never heard of this program, you need to check it out. If somebody could post down below, fast forward. Fast forward program is an awesome program that helps with speech, that helps with auditory processing disorder, that helps with just so many different things, with reading, with comprehension, with so many different things. And what I love about this program, they have it specific for the autism community as well. And it's also specific to that child. There's like a short little rundown test that child does so that the program can assess where to start with that child, and it works with that child. As you notice, I love things that are individualized to that child because, like I said at the beginning, they all have the same issues in the same area. They all have the issues in the same areas, but to different degrees because of epigenetics. So Fast Forward program is a huge program. I recommend everybody under the sun, especially if you're homeschooling, get this program. It's not expensive. They have it on the iPad now. You can do it on the computer. And it's freaking awesome. That got my daughter, her reading, her auditory processing had improved tremendously, her speech articulation tremendously. And this is before we did anything medical, guys. So can you imagine? So you do all this together, I can only imagine where your kid is going to soar. But it helped tremendously with so many different things. Fast Forward program. Thank you for writing that down. Definitely look into that. And then number 5 is outside speech therapy. So I really went even more and got her more speech therapy. So not only did she get speech therapy in school, we had Fast Forward in school, Fast Forward at home, and speech therapy on the outside. So I really worked a lot of stuff on the outside. In the very beginning, before she started using words, we used the PECS system. I know that's going to sound old school if you don't even know what it is. Basically, it's pictures with the word on it, and it used to go on these Velcro things. They don't even have that anymore. You guys all have like iPads, and it's like for the nonverbal kids, and you press the buttons and the pictures with the words to help them speak. Same type of system. I highly recommend doing that, whether you use the iPad version or the PECS system. But the PECS and the sign language in the very, very beginning to get her talking again was huge. I do recommend them. I know that there was some teachers and therapists that used to fight with me saying, oh, well, she's not going to talk if she's doing sign language. I said, listen, I don't give a beep right now. I just want to communicate with her, because when you're doing the sign language more, you're saying the word more with the language. So even if they can't speak right now, at least they have other ways to communicate with you. So I'm an advocate for sign language and for the PECS system, because it's another way and form of communication. Okay, we want to communicate with our children. We will get them to speak eventually, but until then, let's keep the communication open. So that is the outside therapies that we did in the very beginning, all the way up to junior high school. Then neurofeedback brain core therapy. That was a big one. After we started the medical stuff, we learned about a program called neurofeedback brain core therapy, and what it does is it helps create new connections in the brain, and once those connections are connected, you can't get rid of them. So as you know, a lot of our children have disconnection in their brains because of the environmental insults. Well, this is just another way and another program that we found and we saw great gains with, that you may want to look into as an outside therapy. Now, hands down, the cake is more important. The medical stuff is hands down a million times more important than any outside therapy as far as I'm concerned, because you have to get their bodies right, especially if you want them to be more receptive to the outside therapies that you're giving them. I have seen it in my own daughter. She was way more receptive to these outside therapies after we started the healing process. So if you could be ahead of the game by starting the healing process first, or at least at the same time that you're doing it, that is number one, man. Number one is diet and the medical stuff that I talked about earlier. Again, look for a MAPS doctor, look for practitioners, holistic practitioners, and those type of people to help guide you with all of that. Hands down, discuss it with your doctors, determine what you feel comfortable doing. But this is what we've done to get my daughter to where she is. I'm very strict with her food. If someone tries to offer her a Coke, she is not getting it. If someone tries to give her an Oreo cookie, she is not getting it. She understands it's boo-boo belly. She understands that it's going to make her sick. So we are strict beyond belief. If we went to a family gathering or a party, I brought food with me. Like I said in the very beginning, it is not, I'm not going to sit here and tell you this stuff is easy, because it's not, but is it worth it? Heck yeah, it's worth it, because you will get your child in a much better place, and you will help start healing your babies to get into a better place. Okay? Recovery is real. It is real. I've seen children fully recover where they lose diagnosis. The sooner they get the correct help, the better off the chances will be. So this is why it's so important for me to drop these nuggets, share this information with all of you. Let me see if there's something else. And the last things I wanted to share was some resources for you all. If I could have somebody type this down below, that would be fabulous. But websites for resources, my number one resource I send all of you and everybody who asks me, I send them to Talk About Curing Autism. The website is tacanow.org, TACANOW.org. now.org. That is #1 place I send anybody and everybody with a diagnosis, because they literally have all the information in one spot. Diet, maps, doctors, testing, schooling, adulthood, like everything in one location. I wish I found those in the very beginning. I wish I knew about them. I didn't. And this is going to jumpstart your recovery road for your child. So go to takanow.org. Again, talk about curing autism. It's a nonprofit agency that is autism families helping other autism families recover. Thank you. Thank you for writing it. Taka Now. Yes, thank you. The second one's right. The second one is autism1.org. That is the second resource I like to send people to. Autism One is, they have a lot of great information, a lot of great presentations, a lot of great research and information there. You could check out their information there as well. Maps. I believe it's maps.org for your MAPS doctor, maps.org. I believe it's .org. If it's wrong, I will fix it. You could Google it, Medical Academy of Pediatrics for Special Needs, and then the website will come up. But you could seriously search for a clinician near you. That is the next one I want to share with all of you. And the next one is generationrescue.org. Generation Rescue is like TACA. I don't feel it has as much resource as TACA does, but they are on the same page in regards to recovery, helping people find the right resources to start the recovery road, and information about diet, about medical information. Just it has a lot of great information. So generationrescue.org is another great website to go to for resources. And last but not least, bellasrecovery.blogspot.com. That is my website that I created years ago when I first started the recovery road. It was called something else because Bella had a different name at that time, but I just changed it. I'm in the middle of revamping it, and it has literally information about hyperbarics chambers. It has information about the methyl B12 shots we talked about. It has information about Protandim and autism. It has information about homeschooling and autism. It has information about things that we experienced and what worked and what didn't work. Homotoxicology is in there. It has great nuggets on that website, and I plan on expanding it now, which is why I'm sharing it. So bellasrecovery.blogspot.com. You could find a lot more information as well about the information I shared here in regards to Bella. It even has her testing up there. I shared her testing because I want people to know that this stuff is real, okay? We can help our kids get better. Something has gone array. Their bodies are imbalanced. There are different things that we could do in order to help them get into a better place. So that is what I'm doing. What is that again? It is bellasrecovery.blogspot.com. BELLAS recovery, RECOVERY. It's been a long day. .blogspot.com. Thank you very much, Honey Bunch. So those are the main websites that I give out for resource, okay? And books. You got your pens out? I'm going to lift them up. I'm going to give you, I don't want to overwhelm you because I have a lot of them, but these are my very favorite. The first book that got me on the road to recovery, Healing and Preventing Autism. This was the book that started, holy beep, this sounds familiar, this sounds familiar. Now I understand. I literally dug it. You could probably see all the stuff. all the writings and highlightings that I wrote in this book. But it talks about everything that I just talked about. I literally went into my first Dan doctor appointment with a whole list of testing I wanted him to run. So this has information in it. Jenny McCarthy actually asks questions to Jerry Cartzinel. I can't pronounce his name, guys. That's his name. She basically interviews the doctor that helped her son recover. Okay, this is a great book. Highly recommend it. Please, somebody post down below. Healing and Preventing Autism. That is the first book I highly recommend to start on, okay, because it has a lot of great nuggets in it. The second book is Remember I mentioned Talk About Curing Autism? What I love about them is that not only do they have all these wonderful nuggets on their website, they also have a mentorship program, which is absolutely free. Everything they offer is free, by the way, which is so wonderful. Which you could get a mentor that helps you, which is another mom like me who's been doing biomedical with their child, so you could talk to someone one-on-one. They also have coffee talks, which is basically throughout the United States, guys, so you would have to look up into chapter meetings and it'll tell you where they're having coffee talks. Like New York has a chapter. Okay. I participated for a very long time. We would meet up at Starbucks or this place or that place and we would talk. And when you go to one of these coffee talks, you get this book free. Now, if you can't get to one of these coffee talks because they don't have it by you, or a chapter meeting, which they have free meetings, they have like, practitioners come and talk about different things that help with recovery, all free. If you're new and you go to one of them, you get one of these books free. But if you don't go for whatever reason, you could go to the website underneath, click shop, and you can get one of these online. And I believe they're $5. So no excuses. Get your journey guide. It's called the TACA Families with Autism Journey Guide. And it literally has all the different steps and information about diet, about this, about that, like everything that just get it. Okay, $5, get the book. This is definitely a book I recommend. Number 2 is the Talk About Curing Autism Journey Guide. Lots of great nuggets and information in there. And you know what else I love about this? You could bring it to your doctor. You know what I mean? If you have questions, bring it with you. Write questions down in it. Bring it yeah, step by step about diet, step by step about just so many different things in that book. So definitely worth the $5. And I think this is $10 on Amazon. So guys, not expensive. The next book I recommend is Healing the New Childhood Epidemics: Autism, ADHD, Asthma, and Allergies. This is the next one I recommend. Very great information. Okay. Who is it? Kenneth Bach and Cameron Sloth. Sloth? I can't pronounce shit. But yeah, Healing the New Childhood Epidemics: Autism, ADHD, Asthma, and Allergies. The groundbreaking program for the 4A disorders. And let me tell you, great information in this book. Not expensive. Find it on Amazon. If you could please pop that down below. Thank you so much for doing this. How do you pronounce your name? Zule? Zule? If I said it wrong, I'm sorry, but I love you. Thank you so much for helping me out. So Healing the New Childhood Epidemics: Autism, ADHD, Asthma, and Allergies. Because all of this comes together. My daughter fortunately didn't have asthma, so I don't have to worry about that. I only have a few more, okay? The next one that I highly recommend is Cutting Edge Therapies for Autism, 4th edition. This has a lot of good nuggets in it. This, I think, God, it just has a lot of, it has a variety of different biomedical doctors, MAPS doctors, and other medical and practitioners. Like it has information about chelation, it has information about allergies, it has information about biofilm, about gastrointestinal disease, information about stem cells in autism, information about nutritional supplementation. I mean, it literally has so many different, methyl B12, medical cannabis for treatment of autism, just so many different things. It just has an array of like biomedical measures, communication methods, dietary, educational, holistic, physical, and sensory. Just different modalities you can try with your child if you're interested. So this is a great book to get as well. Not expensive. Amazon has it as well. Cutting Edge Therapies for Autism. This says the 4th edition. And the portions of the proceeds are donated to Autism One, which is one of the websites that I recommended. So it's a great book to have, a great resource to have. Eating for Autism, the 10-step nutritional plan to help treat your child's autism, Asperger's, or ADHD. So you could just write Eating for Autism. This is another great book. Again, not expensive. You could find it on Amazon. It's simply exactly what it says. Eating for Autism, helping you learn the foods that really do benefit our children to bring down the inflammation of the gut and what helps with their nutrition to help Because basically when you figure out how to bring down the inflammation, you're not going to get the behaviors. You're not going to get the yelling and screaming and crying and biting and the poop smearing and everything else. Like, it's all going to diffuse because the gut is going to get better. All health begins with the gut, and with our kids, that is so, I can't even repeat myself enough. It is so essential to give them the relief, help within the body, and those manifestations, those behaviors that you see. That's not them. That's them. Their bodies are going, and that's why you're seeing that. Once you start helping the body, lost you. Once you start helping the body calm, it's going to disappear. Those manifestations are going to disappear. My daughter used to do all that. We don't see it anymore, okay? So that's that. And the last book, because I could see Facebook don't like me, is Nourishing Hope for Autism. Nourishing Hope for Autism. And again, it's another book about nutrition and diet guide for healing our children, okay? This is what it looks like. Nourishing Hope for Autism. So those are my nuggets I have for you this evening. I really didn't think it was going to be that long, but apparently it is, and that's okay, because you know what? I'm about healing our kids, okay? These kids deserve more than what they're getting. There's too many people out there that have children on the spectrum that don't understand that there's a bigger picture, that they can do things to help their children because the pediatricians are not giving them the right information. And I do want to tell you, number one thing, stop the injections. Stop the injections when you see your child start regressing or showing and displaying any of these any of these behaviors, because I promise you it's going to get worse. My daughter, I saw everything happen at 15 months. She regressed. And I brought it up to the doctor. I was gaslighted, just like many parents are still getting gaslighted. She continued to get injected because I didn't know my rights. And she got worse and worse and worse and worse to the age of 6. Can you imagine if I actually knew what the hell and I stopped injecting her and I did all of this that I just shared with you tonight? She would have been one who lost diagnosis, and I stand firm that she would have been, because I know where she was at. And it could have been stopped, and it wasn't. And this is why I'm making this video tonight, because that is the biggest question I get asked is, what did I do for my daughter? This is what I've done for my daughter. Again, every child is individual, but I promise you, the earlier you get out of denial, the earlier you get to the right people who can help you with everything I discussed, get the guidance. Get the guidance, do the research, and start healing that gut. And I promise you, you will be able to help your babies heal. That's what I wanted to share with y'all tonight on this wonderful, beautiful full moon eclipse, wolf moon. I'm pushing it all out there. I love you all very, very, very much. I hope that this brought value to you. I feel that I had value to give, and I gave you lots of nuggets. And please share it with anybody you believe that will be receptive to the message, who want to help their children get into a better place. And I'm here if you need me. So have a wonderful evening. Good night.